Hello. Today, I want to talk to you about endings. Dystopias are a good setting for games to let you have a clearly defined enemy. You have your source of conflict presented directly in front of you. You have your goal already there. As times get worse in this world, however, as more and more nations turn fascist, they can start hitting a bit too close to home. It's easy to cheer on the fictional hero, but seeing real people commit actual violence doesn't tend to emit the same kind of joyful responses. When you say Trump is Hitler and then get all pouty pissy about someone trying to kill him, do you really think he's Hitler? Or do you think Hitler deserves a fair shake in the marketplace of ideas? I have a lot of thoughts about the philosophy of violence, and I think there are more things that are violent than people generally accept as such. I think that taking part in the jury system makes you a part of that violence. If you say someone shouldn't face judgment and they commit a crime again, I think you're responsible. You're not solely responsible, but you are responsible. If the person is sentenced to death, you are responsible. But again, I also think that rejecting the responsibility of being part of that is saying that you accept either outcome, and once again, you are responsible. I think it is cowardice out of fear of some responsibility stemming from this idea that in the trolley problem, inaction is actually a possible thing. Choosing to not pull the lever and pulling the lever are both action. So now that I've done that, let's talk about terrorism. This part of the video was written before September 10th. I debated rewriting some of this in response to someone enacting political violence, but then I remembered that all violence is political, so I won't be. If you think that it's rude for me to release this video so close to the death of a Nazi dumbfuck, hey, that's cool. Anyways, Red Faction Guerrilla is a game that a part of me is still shocked exists. The game has a mission where you just commit a series of political assassinations on CEOs. It is not played in a darkly comedic tone, it is just presented flatly as an assassination. It is just political violence directed at the people directly responsible. Yeah, you've been killing the evil police, which is redundant, but this feels different. They aren't the ones who engage in combat with you. Their violence is distant, enacted behind desks. This is the first and last time they are relevant to the plot, but someone decided this is the mission. It is important that we make the player do this. The game came out the same year as Modern Warfare 2 and Killzone 2, games about foreign intervention. The Saboteur also came out the same year, but that is about killing occupying Nazis. Red Faction is about killing your own English-speaking government. The violence in this game is a bit absurd, with massive explosions and destructibility. However, sometimes you'll occasionally headshot someone, and they'll drop in a too realistic way that makes it feel a bit less fun. But then you'll throw a remote explosive onto a cop and watch them run around screaming in fear, and then you'll laugh again as you let them sit there in fear for a few seconds before you end their life. The enemy in Red Faction Guerrilla is willing to bomb civilian areas when resistance fights back. The EDF, are shown to hold civilians accountable for the actions committed by a select few. The game never humanizes the Earth Defense Force. They are faceless, wearing masks to hide any humanity. It never lets you see what their life is like, or why they decided to do this. Good. They don't deserve to be seen as these poor cogs in the machine. They decided to do this, to be the arm that lines people against the wall. Violence is an incredibly common means of games providing the player with agency. Violence is unquestioned in games. Mario doesn't debate with the Goombas to let him pass, he stomps them. You are the player, and the world revolves around you. No one asks if Mario is committing war crimes by going to a foreign kingdom and killing the inhabitants. We don't care that GTA asks us to commit crimes. We don't think about international laws as we play Blops. Red Faction Guerrilla never hesitates with, if I kill the killer, doesn't that make me a killer too? Because it isn't fucking stupid. These people are gonna wipe you off the map. This is self-defense. The decision to have violence you commit be illegal, but moral. To have your violence be guerrilla warfare that would have been used by people we would have seen as the enemy on the news. It reads to me as an intentional subversion of traditional game design, but perhaps the game just got these decisions from the idea of, let's make mass destruction fun and morally acceptable, and this was just the path that made the most sense. The EDF is presented as both occupier and government. While they are the saviors in Red Faction 1, here they are the government using the same weapons they used to save you before to now subjugate the population. They are only exploiting the people of Mars for resources to export back to Earth. The government on Mars being the Earth Defense Force, defending Earth by annexing another planet, is a great, dark joke that sadly rings all too true. One mechanic in this game is morale. The higher your morale, the more resources you will receive after a mission, encouraging you to do side missions and boost morale before starting a main quest. If your morale rating is high enough, the people will take up arms and fight around you. While civilian deaths will make you lose morale, you will gain morale by causing mass destruction or stopping police raids or rescuing people kidnapped by the government. Losing people in the fight may be demoralizing, but that is why you have to keep fighting. Okay, I know I want it to be known, I'm just talking about game mechanics here because I don't want this to be presented as admissible evidence in a court case in the future. A while back, my roommate was watching through the animated DC movies, and I joined for a few of them. I watched and really enjoyed the death of Superman, so I stuck around for the follow-up, Rise of the Supermen. Now, I haven't read the comics, so maybe it's more obvious in those, but the original was written in 1993, so it's not really relevant for the point I'm going to make. I think the death of Superman and Reign of the Supermen is about 9/11 and America's reaction to it. I think that this is a much better Superman to 9/11 comparison than Zack Snyder's attempt. In the wake of the dissolution of the invincibility that Americans felt, both in American history after 9/11 and in the death of Superman, people are afraid. People were willing to give their lives to the military to reestablish that sense of peace at home. People accept the offer of Cyborg Superman to become a part of his cyber corps. In both cases, the offer is this: reject your humanity, turn yourself into a weapon. Because with the Justice League gone, and now the fear of the disrupted status quo, this is seen as a valiant choice to make. We see regular people step up and accept the offer of Cyborg Superman and be changed into nothing. A model soldier with no human attachments. We spend a small part of the film following someone who knows someone who takes that deal, and in the end, she pleads for him to recognize her, trying to have him recognize her, but we can see that he is already gone. That whoever he was died when he got up on that stage, and then whatever remains of him gets put down by the Justice League. I cannot stop thinking about how this is probably about how 9/11 sparked a rise in Islamophobia and nationalism that turned people into fascists who have lost their humanity, and at this point, well, I don't know if I can say that. And it's tragic that it happened to them, but they're already gone. The scene has stuck with me since I saw it. There is no redemption moment. They don't cure these people of what they've been turned into. It was too late for them the moment they took the offer. Other comics will come up with a way to save the innocents from out of nowhere, but this one, it doesn't. It's just too late. And then it's over. I have trouble differentiating joy as an act of resistance, as an absurdist action, from the in-denial defeatist. I get upset at other people just going on with their life as the world is burning. Those friends of mine, especially the queer ones, who post every day but have never mentioned Gaza or ICE. I find them disappointing, shameful even. I can find myself often getting upset with myself for just vegging out, for needing distraction from all the shit that goes on every day. I hate how it feels like the present options are vertical content or an anxiety attack. I do my best to also supplement good art into my media diet, but staying up for an hour or two on my phone watching Instagram reels is something I do way more. I used to share a lot more Free Palestine posts on Instagram, but now I just give it a like and move on. I don't really post much of anything these days. While I can get upset at those friends, there comes a point when I start to wonder, what am I actually doing by sharing these horrible things going on? What can I do to help people overseas besides commit crimes? The actual answer is join the DSA, get involved in your community, call your representatives. It's almost 2 years on now since October 7th, and the majority of the opposition party is still siding with Israel. When it would be so easy to just say, this is Trump and this is bad, they still side with Israel. Adam Freeland's interview with Richie Torres, a pro-Palestine Jewish person who lived in Israel, interviewing a gay black Democrat who just hand waves child murder because he doesn't believe it's their policy, despite the fact that this has a 90% civilian casualty rate. There is no saving this empire of ours. If this is the opposition, it is over. Our souls have been sold. You shudder at burning machinery. I've seen children and parents separated. You say our tax dollars at work when you hit a pothole, and on the other side of the world, a bomb kills 13 people that I have paid for a fraction of a percentage of. I have done my best to forget the violence that I'm in some way responsible for. The blown open skull of a child does not keep me awake anymore. But I can't let myself fall into nihilism. Spite is the best motivator, but even then, I've been falling into apathy towards the worst people instead of that. I have to just keep working on that forever. Umarangi Generation is a game set at the end of the world. It is populated by a colorful cast of unspeaking punks. Graffiti, dance, photography are these seemingly meaningless actions that they take part in. Is this joy as an act of resistance, or just denial? There are posters for movies about horrible catastrophes that have taken place, and there's graffiti memorializing the real victims of this end of the world. Skate parks and drug dens. I think Draken would say that this game is a great example of killing gameplay. I find it hard to write about this game because I think I see myself too much in it. I think this is a problem I have quite often. I don't see these videos I make as that different from the graffiti left on a wall. And I think I'm meant to see them as the same thing. I think joy as an act of resistance is perhaps a bit sadder than I ever really considered. I think it is absurd to see the signs of the end of the world and say, but let's just have a party. But I do that because just being alive is resistance. These times are terrifying. Every day, a new terrible policy is being enacted that the Supreme Courts do nothing to stop. The administration is looking for any excuse to declare martial law in every single blue city in a red state, and it has already illegally sent the military into DC and Los Angeles. All of the horrors of the world of Umarangi Generation are normalized. They are just background noise at this point. When everything we have done comes back here, what will we do? This feels like the end of the world, but so did World War II. There has always been a valid reason to see everything going on and believe that this is the end. I don't know if I have much hope for things to get better. At this point, I think I just have apathy and absurdism, and I don't know if that's a different thing than joy as an act of resistance at this point, and I wish I did. Israel bombed a foreign nation, an ally of ours, for housing Hamas, but those Hamas people were the ones sent for peace negotiations. This is a war crime, and not just that. It shows that Israel is not interested in peace. What really is the purpose of the people who act as peacekeepers when their peace is only more violent? I do love this game. It is just a space to exist in. It has a timer, but that timer isn't really that important. You are here. You are with your people. The stragglers, the punks, the artists, the losers, the living. You are here with them. And you are to make a record of what these people's lives are like in still moments. How do you color them? Do you do any corrections, or are you just utilitarian? Is either more representative of the truth? Is it more important to convey truth or the emotions that are felt by the people in that moment? I do completely realize that since Kentucky Route Zero, all of my videos have been a mental breakdown in document form. Okay. This is the end of Empire and Umarangi Generation, but mainly in the sense that it is the end of the world. But there are other games that have a bit more hope attached to that self-destruction of an empire. Pyre is a game about hope. The story of Pyre follows the people society has cast out. It is about those outcasts coming back to liberate the people who live under the Empire, who have not been hurt the same way you have. All you have to do is make it out of an inescapable place. But you can. Every so often, if you are able to prove yourself good enough, you are given the chance to release one of your teammates from the downside, and you will not see them again. At the end of Pyre, the option arises that you can save yourself. You know that this is the last time someone will be saved. You won't be able to save anyone else. So do you do it? I didn't in my first playthrough. I chose what I thought would be the morally good option and saved someone else, and the game called me out. I had led these people to freedom, and after doing so, I chose to stay behind instead of accepting responsibility of being out there. My purpose and downside was done, and my commitments and bonds to my friends who I had freed was what mattered now. I've never felt so called out by a game before. Well, maybe Spec Ops, but we have responsibilities to each other, and what I thought was a form of self-sacrifice was actually just shirking responsibilities. It is not our role to play Jesus. We have to be there for each other. Perhaps you think the game is being too morally pragmatic. I thought that too when the game called me out, but the more time passes, the more I agree with it. Where do your responsibilities lie? In the face of a fascist empire, you must live. While Pyre has 20,000 endings, in all of them, the Empire will fall. While it can be easy to see this as a cop-out as far as player choice goes, it is more important for what it says about empires. How much change can just 7 people cause anyways? You can save everyone on your team. You may fail every single right, but the Empire will not stand at the end. All you can do is change the form that this fall will take. A bloodless revolution or an empire collapsing in on itself. I find hope in this inevitability, that this cannot go on, that this has to, that this must, that it will be stopped, be that from within or from outside, with or without violence. It will be done. The end of Empire is inevitable. The suffering being enacted cannot be sustained. How much change can 7 people cause? The difference between a bloodless revolution and an external force stepping in when a government is weak. The lives of many innocents. It is easy for us to judge any resistance movement, to complain about protesters blocking traffic, despite them being the people keeping your freedoms intact. It can be easy to disagree with the methods used, but if you tell me you do anything different in their position, I'd call you a coward. If free speech gets removed, I wonder at what point people start thinking, if I am going to get locked away for free speech, why not add vandalism to the list? While I wish I could say the government knows that would be the case, I think they are incredibly stupid and short-sighted. No one cares about the innocent lives on the Death Star because it was a genocide machine. While George Lucas has said that we are the Empire, and he's right, it's not an easy reality to accept, to question the narratives and history books, to understand that we might be the genocide machine that needs to be stopped. It can be done peacefully from the inside, but if that fails, even then it will be destroyed. I'll admit I debate quitting my job because a part of me feels like the American dollar is going to collapse, which will set off a series of international economic collapses, and then at that point, why did I have a savings account? When the value of my dollar drops, all of those hours I worked are just erased, and why would I have done that? But if I quit my job, I'm betting on the worst case scenario happening, and I can't do that. I don't think it is hope that keeps me going to my job. I think it is denial, but I do have hope. Not a lot. I'm quite the failing optimist. I don't think the Democratic Party is going to realize they need policy change and not better use of social media, but the world has not ever seen this much support for Palestine from this many people. Resistance breeds hope. You must hang on to what makes you human throughout all of this. You must try to live, because this cannot go on. Palestine will be free. is dripping all down your shirt, left behind a bloody stain of what you got. Everything you wanted, you died for what you believe in. You never would have accepted redemption if it had been offered to you. So you don't get any empathy from me. I'm sorry, people had to see that no one deserves such a sight. Your body limp and bleed out, and I do not feel a thing for you. I don't feel a thing for you. I don't feel a thing for you. My empathy reactions. You are ineligible. My empathy reactions. This was inevitable. My empathy. My empathy.